It's good to know that if the end of the world ever did happen in Spy Family, Anya would essentially be useless. I just love the idea that if it's in the middle of her sleep, you just can't be bothered to have her care. She'll wake up, not giving a shit, and then the next morning it takes her so long to clue back into what's happened. I mean, the fact that she thought Lloyd was the potted plant, or the fact that she just was totally oblivious / kind of rude to Yor, and it was brilliant to see the different reactions as she clued in that she missed her unkie, and just the fact that she got so enthralled by the idea of secret police, even if she didn't know what it was to begin with. I just love this girl and how, even though she's such a walking meme and just is pure chaotic funny energy, I love the fact that she's really the glue that keeps Yor and Lloyd together, because even though people like Lloyd look at her as just being sometimes kids can clue into things better than adults can, we know it's because of her mind-reading abilities, so her just saying get along as she leaves for school, and then when she comes back, is happy to see that they are getting along. Most people who aren't inside these characters' heads or see what they're actually doing underneath their kind of disguise would look at the beginning and end of their day no different than where they started off and ended. But for the viewers, and especially characters like Anya, she absolutely knows. And I love that about them. And for an episode that ended, in terms of last week anyway, on the build-up to a kiss, we knew there's no way, there's gotta be something that's gonna cause a ruckus. I saw a lot of people say Anya was going to be the disruption, and that actually made a lot of sense to me. Her just stumbling in and maybe it caused some sort of like giant meme that would just make us roll. But I love the idea that, you know, as soon as I saw Yor take the bottle, I knew it wasn't going to end well. Her drinking, and just the family in general drinking, as we saw from the brother last week, it just is a recipe for disaster, and for viewers, that's amazing to witness. But the idea that it just ended in such a brutal smackdown, not even once, but a few different times. I mean, the man literally left that apartment having a fountain of blood spew from his head. And there's a moment in this episode where you see like these rough-looking biker kind of gang goons. Turns out they're just normal people who are just like, bro, you need to go to the hospital. But I like that because this show has really done a good job, in my opinion, of establishing Yuri as the type of character you want to see around. Like with what I said with last week, it's not that kind of like siscon role where it's just like, oh, he wants to bang his sister or things like that. We can see from the past and just what she did. Like, that was his mother figure. That was his big sister. That was his best friend, right? So the idea of someone being able to protect better than he can and also taking away her affection, it's going to cause them to go a little insane. And they play with that trope very well without it going overboard into a gross extreme like you're typically used to. This girl literally gave up her childhood to make sure Yuri had everything that he would need. Like, she became a killer at such a young age just so he would have what he needed for entertainment to, like, school supplies, right? And the idea of him wanting to make sure that no one takes her away unless they can do a better job, but also proves to him that he no longer needs to be the one for him. You know, it's that childlike innocence that he's never grown out of, despite having such a mature job. And I think they're doing a great job at establishing that as much as he wants to hate Lloyd, it's hard for him to admit the fact that he's a good match for her. And the fact that every character who comes into contact with Lloyd and Yor ends up agreeing that, as fake as whether they know it or don't know it, like, this feels genuine. And I think that's what makes the end of the episode so special, is that Lloyd knows he can't get connected, that everything here is a fake, it's a disguise, it's just for the mission. But he felt totally bad. He felt like an absolute ass for doubting in Yor, that she knew what her brother was doing, that she's just trying to get close to Twilight, and in return, he ends up bugging her coat or her collar and spies on her, and even after an intense interrogation, he realizes that she can be trusted, and the fact that he just felt so bad but also wanted to be next to her, you can tell, like, we've known for some time this is a genuine relationship, even if they can't admit to it just yet, because their years of training and where they work for, right? It goes against everything they've known. But that's what makes, I think, this family so special, is that even if Anya is the only one who knows the truth about everything, sort of a thing, she is that glue that keeps them there, so it never quite falls apart. And when it starts to, it just feels like nice drama that never tries to make you worry too much. Like, you don't leave an episode of Spy Family saying, damn, they might split up, or damn, Anya's gonna have to go to a foster home. No, it's just more of, you understand the seeds of doubt, and it makes for good drama without making us, pull our hair out and say, God damn, we're not going to have best family anymore. And I think they did a great job with the over-exaggeration, whether it's the violence with the blood, and honestly, I love the fact that it works perfectly given the brother and sister's mindset, but the fact that, he ended up getting slapped and he took that as oh my God, you're just mad that, I even doubted in your love and, I deserve this abuse sort of a thing. And just the number of visual jokes just kind of write themselves. But Spy Family Man has been, ever since episode 1, I think the best new anime of this season. It consistently impresses me, both with production, both with memes, and just how, it almost feels like a timeless joke that isn't going to go away for some time. And I think, the Anya waking up, kind of stumbling, looking around, is going to be a great reaction meme for probably the next month anyway. I'll be using it for sure. But just the fact that the core reason we love Spy Family is the cast. And the fact that the story's there, right? Two separate people working for two separate sides, but now we're in this quote-unquote fake relationship. It's a good story hook, but the thing that sells this is the characters and their general slice of life family that's being built up. And it's one of those things where it's almost like The Confession, right? If you're watching a romance anime, you're waiting for the confession, because once the confession happens, everything gets better. And it's kind of like that with the truth being revealed to the family as a whole. But it's one of those things that, even though it's going to take a long time to get there, it could take to the very end of it. It's okay, because as you get to there, or as you're building up to those moments, you're still building a genuine family, as we saw at the end of the episode, despite there being so much distrust and worry that she's a fake and she's trying to get close for information. He came out loving her more than he did in the previous episode, and we didn't need a kiss to solidify that, or them sharing a bed in a very funny way as they run away in opposite directions. I also like the fact that we don't necessarily have to see Anya go to school every episode. I actually thought they were always going to split apart, that if we don't see Anya at school, it just kind of felt like they needed to always show us, so I'm glad that she can sometimes take the backseat despite her being the most fun addition to this cast. I like the fact that she doesn't need to be the main center focus. Sometimes we'll focus on her at school, sometimes we'll see her in the background for a couple of minutes, right? Because ultimately, the parents are the driving force of most chaos that's going to happen. Sometimes the chaos will happen at school, as we saw with the punch and everything like that. But I like the fact that they're balancing the different perspectives quite well, and having the parents dominate an episode doesn't feel like we're missing out on Anya content. We know she's there. We know we'll get more of her. But ultimately, it's a story where they're not always going to be sharing the screen together. Sometimes you'll be past her bedtime. Sometimes you'll be at school. But ultimately, it feels like they know how to balance all the different perspectives, which I think sometimes a show like this gets wrong. But Spy Family proves time and time again it knows exactly what it's doing, and it does so with grace. Spy Family is already a timeless classic, if you ask me, and I think it's just getting better with more episodes. The characters all are memorable, in my opinion, and I love watching it every single week. It's easily my most anticipated every single week, and I doubt that will change even when we get into Core 2 and Fall. So, thoughts if you have any down below, favorite moment, what you'd hope to see with the last few episodes, let me know down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new around here. Till next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.